Krasnoyarsk is a city in the administrative center of Krasnoyarsk Krai, Russia, located on the Yenisei River. It is the third largest city in Siberia after Novosibirsk and Omsk, with a population of 1,035,528 as of the 2010 census. Krasnoyarsk is an important junction of the Trans-Siberian Railway and one of Russia's largest producers of aluminium. The city is notable for its nature landscapes. Author Anton Chekhov judged Krasnoyarsk to be the most beautiful city in Siberia. Geography. The total area of the city, including suburbs and the river, is 348 square kilometers. The Yenisei River flows from west to east through the city. Due to the Krasnoyarsk hydroelectric dam 32 kilometers upstream, the Yenisei never freezes in winter and never exceeds plus 14 degrees Celsius in summer through the city. Near the city center, its elevation is 136 meters above sea level. There are several islands in the river, the largest of which are Tatyshov and Otdiha Isles, used mainly for recreation. To the south and west, Krasnoyarsk is surrounded by forested mountains averaging 410 meters in height above river level. The most prominent of them are Nikolaevskaya Sopka, Krylnaya Gora, and Kornaya Sopka, the latter being an extinct volcano. The gigantic rock cliffs of the Stolby Nature Reserve rise from the mountains of the southern bank of the Yenisei. The western hills form the Grimoyokhyag River crest extending westwards up to the Sobakina River. The north is generally plain, except for the Drokinskaya Sopka Hill, with forests to the northwest and agricultural fields to the north and east. The major rivers in and near Krasnoyarsk are the Yenisei, Mana, Bazaika, and Kacha rivers, the latter flowing throughout the historical center of the city. Due to the nature of the terrain, a few natural lakes exist in the vicinity of Krasnoyarsk. The forests close to the city are mostly pine and birch. Further afield, aspen becomes dominant in many areas. The moss-covered fir and Siberian pine replaces other wood in the mountains westward of the Krylnaya River, in about 15 kilometers to the west from the city. The forests to the south are mostly pine, fir and aspen. History. The city was founded on Augusta 19, 1628 as a Russian border fort when a group of service-class people from Yeniseisk led by Andrei Dubinskoy arrived at the confluence of the Kacha and Yenisei rivers and constructed fortifications intended to protect the frontier from attacks of native peoples who lived along Yenisei and its tributaries. Along with Kornsk to the east, it represented the southern limit of Russian expansion in the Yenisei Basin during the 17th century. In the letter to Tsar the Cossacks reported, "The town of trunks we have constructed and around the place of fort, we the servants of thee, our lord, have embedded posts and fastened them with double bindings and the place of fort have strengthened mightily." The fort was named Krasny Yar after the Yar name of the place it was built, Kyzyl Char, which was translated as Krasny Yar. An intensive growth of Krasnoyarsk began with the arrival of the Siberian route in 1735 to 1741 which connected the nearby towns of Akinsk and Kornsk with Krasnoyarsk and with the rest of Russia. In 1749, a meteorite with a mass of about 700 kilograms was found 230 km south of Krasnoyarsk. It was excavated by Peter Simon Pallas in 1772 and transported to Krasnoyarsk and subsequently to St. Petersburg. The Krasnoyarsk meteorite is important because it was the first pallasite ever studied and the first meteorite ever etched. The name Krasnoyarsk was given in 1822 when the village of Krasny Yar was granted town status and became the administrative center of Yeniseisk Governorate. In the 19th century, Krasnoyarsk was the center of the Siberian Cossack movement. By the end of the 19th century, Krasnoyarsk had several manufacturing facilities and railroad workshops and an engine house. Growth continued with the discovery of gold and the arrival of a railroad in 1895. In the Russian Empire, Krasnoyarsk was one of the places to which political exiles were banished. For example, 8 Decembrists were deported from St. Petersburg to Krasnoyarsk after the failure of the revolt. After the Russian Revolution of 1917, during the periods of centralized planning numerous large plants and factories were constructed in Krasnoyarsk, Sibtyazhmash, the dockyard, the paper factory, the hydroelectric power station, and the river port. In 1934, Krasnoyarsk Krai was formed, with Krasnoyarsk as its administrative center. During Stalinist times, Krasnoyarsk was a major center of the Gulag system. The most important labor camp was the Krajlag or Krasnoyarsky ITL, with the two units located in Kornsk and Rashioti. In the city of Krasnoyarsk itself, the Yeniseilag or Yeniseirsky ITL labor camp was prominent as well during World War II. During World War II, dozens of factories were evacuated from Ukraine and Western Russia to Krasnoyarsk and nearby towns, stimulating the industrial growth of the city. After the war, additional large plants were constructed: the aluminum plant, the metallurgic plant, the plant of base metals, and many others. In the late 1970s, the Soviet Union began constructing a phased array radar station at Abalikovo, near Krasnoyarsk, which violated the ABM Treaty. Beginning in 1983, the United States demanded its removal, until the Soviet Union admitted the radar station was a violation in 1989. Equipment was slowly removed from the site, and by 1992 it was officially declared to be dismantled, though the equipment from the site was likely relocated to a new site near Komsomolsk-na Amur. Krasnoyarsk was also home to Krasnoyarsk Northeast Air Base, which was turned into living blocks after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union and beginning of privatization, many large plants and factories, such as the Krasnoyarsk aluminum plant, became owned by alleged criminal authorities and oligarchs, while others were declared bankrupt. The economic transition resulted in a dramatic rise in unemployment and numerous strikes. The best-known financial scandal of the second half of 1990s happened when ownership of the Krasnoyarsk aluminum plant by a known Krasnoyarsk businessman Anatoly Bykov had been cancelled after he was accused of murdering his partner, Vila Stroganov. The accusation eventually turned out to be false. The Krasnoyarsk plant's ownership problems continue through the early 21st century, since nearly all of them are owned either by monopolistic financial groups or by oligarchs. Since the election of Pyotr Gomashkov as the mayor of Krasnoyarsk in 1996, the appearance of the city gradually improved. The old historical buildings were restored, the asphalt walkways were replaced with paving stone, and numerous squares and recreation areas with fountains were either restored or constructed from scratch. Now the majority of the city keeps only a few traces of its former, drab, post-collapse look. Administrative and municipal status: Krasnoyarsk is the administrative center of the Krai. Within the framework of administrative divisions, it is, together with one rural locality, incorporated as the Krai city of Krasnoyarsk, an administrative unit with the status equal to that of the districts. As a municipal division, the Krai city of Krasnoyarsk is incorporated as Krasnoyarsk Urban Okrug. City divisions: for administrative purposes, Krasnoyarsk is divided into 7 city districts: Kirovsky, Leninsky, Oktyabrsky, Sovetsky, Sverdlovsky, Centralny, Zelezodorosny, Coat of Arms. The first version of the Krasnoyarsk coat of arms was approved on March 12, 1804. A revised coat of arms, approved on November 23, 1851, had the golden figure of a lion placed on a red shield with a spade in the right forepaw and a sickle in the left forepaw, both made of the same metal. Since November 28, 2004 has the 5-tower status crown of a federal subject administrative center. Climate: Krasnoyarsk experiences a continental climate with long and very cold winters and short but warm summers. Its climate in July and during the winter is very similar to that of Winnipeg, Canada, which is a good deal further south geographically. The summer is in comparison shorter, and winter is longer compared to the Canadian inland, but peaks are similar. Compared to climates on a similar latitude, Krasnoyarsk has much warmer summers than Aberdeen, Scotland, for example, but much colder and longer winters. The summer is also on average warmer than expected at similar inland latitudes of Scandinavia, due to its much farther inland location. Very few major cities on Earth have higher differentials between summer and winter temperatures than Krasnoyarsk. Demographics: the population count by year. Population count by districts: Kirovsky 114,715, Leninsky 145,530, Oktyabrsky 153,112, Sovetski 281,284, Sverdlovsky 130,596, Centralny 55,060, Zelezodorosny 93,529. The population of Krasnoyarsk includes a number of peoples. The most numerous are Russians, Ukrainians, Tatars, Germans, and Belarusians. Lately the number of Tajiks, Uzbeks and other Central Asian and Caucasian peoples has grown extensively because of the vast, often illegal immigration in search for work. Another populous immigrant group is the Chinese who, unlike other foreign workers, are employed in much more lucrative areas and often form business partnerships with local companies. Many Chinese trade at the bazaars, and a special large Chinese bazaar named Satruzhstvo, and the Chinese trading town or colloquially Kitai-Gorod on Strelka. Architecture. There are a number of historical buildings in Krasnoyarsk, the oldest of them being the Intercession Cathedral. Other locally significant samples of Russian Orthodox architecture are the Annunciation Cathedral, the Holy Trinity Cathedral, John the Baptist Church, and the New Michael the Archangel Church. On the top of the Krasnaya Hill, originally a pagan shrine, later occupied by the Krasnoyarsk Fort Watchtower, the Parazkiva Pientsa Chapel still stands. The chapel, displayed on the 10-ruble note, is one of the iconic images of the city. The chapel was abandoned and fell into disrepair during the Soviet era, and only when perestroika came was it regained by the Yenisei bishopric. Another unofficial symbol of Krasnoyarsk is the incomplete 24-story tower located at Strelka. Construction of the tower had been started just before perestroika and then frozen due to the administrative crisis. The outline of the tower is clearly seen from many places in the city. A bridge near Krasnoyarsk carries the Trans-Siberian Railway across the Yenisei. This structure, one of the longest at the time, was constructed between 1893 and 1896 to an award-winning design by Lev Proskoryakov. When approved for the inscription on the World Heritage List in 2003, the bridge was described by the UNESCO as an early representation of a typical parabolic polygonal truss bridge in Russia, which became a testing ground for the application of engineering theories and the development of new innovative solutions, which had numerous successors. Among other notable buildings are the mansions of the merchant Nikolai Gabalov, the Roman Catholic Transfiguration Chapel, the Krasnoyarsk Cry Museum stylized as an ancient Egyptian temple, the Krasnoyarsk Cultural Historical Center and the Triumphal Arch at the Spit, the regional administration building flanked with two towers known as the Donkey Ears. There are a number of two-story wooden houses in the city built mostly in the middle of the 20th century as temporary habitations. Many urbanized villages located inside the city keep the remnants of the traditional Russian village architecture, wooden houses with backyards, many somewhat dilapidated now but still inhabited. Culture. There are a number of local holidays celebrated annually in Krasnoyarsk. The most significant holiday is the Day of the City celebrated in June, usually with a carnival. Other holidays and cultural events are the Mana Festival usually held on the last weekend in June with the traditional Bard contest, the International Museum Biennale traditionally held in the Krasnoyarsk Cultural Historical Center, the Avant-Garde Museum Night Festival dedicated to the International Museum Day, the Jazz on Yenisei Festival, the Stolbis Day held many times a year celebrating the traditions of mountain climbing in the Stolby National Reserve, and the Bikers Rally. Krasnoyarsk has a number of local television companies and the highly developed telecommunications. Many districts of the city have LAN-based broadband internet access. The city is also home to the Krasnoyarsk Children's Choir, a world-renowned choir that tours in many countries as the Little Eagles of Siberia. Education. Next to Novosibirsk, Krasnoyarsk is a prominent scientific and educational center of Siberia, with over 30 higher education facilities, many of which are the branches of the Russian Academy of Science, and about 200 high schools. The most notable higher education institutes are, Siberian Federal University, founded on November 4, 2006. The institution integrated 4 large higher education institutions: Krasnoyarsk State Pedagogical University, founded in 1932, Siberian State Technological University, the oldest in the city, founded in 1930 as the Siberian Institute of Forest, Siberian State Aerospace University, founded in 1960, Krasnoyarsk State Medical Academy, founded in 1942, Sukakov Institute of Forest, founded in 1944. Like Novosibirsk, Krasnoyarsk has a special city district called Akademgorodok, where several educational institutes are located. Krasnoyarsk's Institute of Biophysics is known for a 1973–1985 experiment on ecological isolation of human beings. There are several museums in Krasnoyarsk. One is the Krasnoyarsk Regional Museum, containing historical items and exhibits of the region, including ancient history, native Siberians, and woolly rhinos. The Krasnoyarsk Zoo is also a major attraction for residents and tourists. Transportation, metro. An underground system has been in planning and construction phases in Krasnoyarsk for decades. The first 3 stations have not been opened yet, but several construction sites around the city are visible. The date of the opening is uncertain, as works on the system have been stopped since 2010. Railway. Krasnoyarsk lies on the Yenisei River and historically has been an important junction on the Trans-Siberian Railway. Airports. Krasnoyarsk was served by 2 airports. Yemelyannovo Airport is the main airport that handles both medium and long-haul domestic plus international flights, and is located 27 kilometers northwest of the city. The secondary Cheremshanka Airport used to handle short-haul flights. Cheremshanka has lost its eminent role as the main base airport for an extensive network of local air services in Krasnoyarsk region formerly served by the local Aeroflot Krasnoyarsk Directorate. In December 2011 a fire broke out at the Cheremshanka Airport which destroyed the terminal building and the air traffic control tower. Tourism. The most popular place of attraction for tourists visiting Krasnoyarsk is the huge national nature reserve Stolby, which covers an area of 470 square kilometers with numerous giant granite rocks formations up to 100 meters high, many of very extraordinary shapes. Stolby is also a major rock climbing location. Many local climbers intentionally do not use any belaying equipment and call their extreme sport stolbism, known elsewhere as solo climbing. Other popular showplaces include the Krasnoyarsk Hydroelectric Power Station Dam, the Krasnaya Gora Hill with the Parazhkiva Pientsa Chapel, museums, theaters, etc. Sports. Krasnoyarsk is a center of Siberian sport. Areas where Krasnoyarsk excels compared to other Russian cities include rugby union, bandy and freestyle wrestling. Yenisei is the 2014 champion of the Bandy Super League and had the highest average attendance, 5,747. 2. The city is considered a stronghold of rugby union in Russia, to the extent that the Rugby Union of Russia was headquartered locally for many years. 2 Krasnoyarsk clubs, Krasny Yar and Yenisei STM, participate in the National Professional Rugby League. Matches take precedence in the local media, and the city derby match can attract large crowds. Many players of the Russian national rugby team hail from the area. Some of Russia's international rugby matches are played at the Central Stadium. Carolina Hurricanes left winger Alexander Semin is from Krasnoyarsk. Future sport events. The 2019 Winter Universiade will be hosted by Krasnoyarsk. Notable people: Andrei Vorobyov, Governor of Moscow Oblast; Vasily Sarkov, historic painter; Viktor Astafyev, writer; Pyotr Slovtsov, opera singer; Andrea Makin, novelist; Yevgeny Popov, writer; Dmitry Vorostovsky, operatic baritone; Alexander Semin, ice hockey player; Veniamin Kostitsyn, painter; Elena Krustalova, biathlete; Evgeny Ustyugov, biathlete; Evgeny Isakov, ice hockey player; Helene Fischer, German singer and actress; Valentin Danilov, Russian scientist; Walter Sisek, Polish-American Jesuit priest held captive here on suspicion of espionage for the Vatican. Twin towns and sister cities. Krasnoyarsk is twinned with. References, notes. Sources: th, th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 th 3/4 th degree nth micron th noeth 1/2 th 3/4 th micron nth 3/4 th plus or minus n euro th degree th 1/2 th micron th sh n euro th degree nth 1/2 th 3/4 n euro nth th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree nath th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 aa minus 10-4765 a th 3/4 and 10 th nth 1/2 n 2010 th cubed a th micron n euro th micron nth 1/2 th micron th degree th 1/4 th 1/2 th n on euro th degree nth th squared th 1/2 th 3/4 nth micron n euro th nth 3/4 n euro th degree th noeth 1/2 n on th micron th 1/2 th nth micron n euro th nth 3/4 n euro th degree th noeth 1/2 n on th micron th 1/2 th nth sh n euro th degree nth 1/2 th 3/4 n euro nth 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree na th squared n euro th micron th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 th degree a minus 6-2191 th 3/4 and 20 th 1/4 th degree n euro nth degree 2014 th cubed aa th plus or minus th 1/4 th micron th 1/2 th micron th 1/2 th degree th 1/4 th 1/2 th n on euro th degree nth squared th 1/2 th 3/4 nth micron n euro th nth 3/4 n euro th degree th noeth 1/2 th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 n florin n on euro th 3/4 th to the first n nth squared th degree th sh th micron th paragraph th micron th 1/4 nth 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 n euro th degree th to the first th 3/4 th 1/2 th degree th 3/4 th squared th 1/2 th micron nth micron th 1/2 th 1/4 th micron th 1/2 th micron th 1/2 th to the first th squared th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 th n euro th degree nth micron n euro th micron nth 1/2 th micron th degree th 1/4 th 1/2 th n on euro th degree nth squared th 1/2 th 3/4 nth micron n euro th nth 3/4 n euro th degree th noeth 1/2 n on th micron th 1/2 th nth micron n euro th nth 3/4 n euro th degree th noeth 1/2 n on th micron th 1/2 th nth sh n euro th degree nth 1/2 th 3/4 n euro nth 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree nath n on florin th squared nth n florin A1 a THN THN 2010 a TH cubed THN florin TH plus or minus TH 3/4 TH squared TH degree TH 1/2 TH micron TH 3/4 TH 1/4 TH 3/4 NN TH squared N on N THN TH 3/4 N euro TH cubed TH degree TH 1/2 TH 3/4 TH squared TH cubed TH 3/4 NN florin TH degree N euro NN TH squared TH micron TH 1/2 TH 1/2 TH 3/4 TH to the first th squared th degree n th sh n euro th degree n th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro n th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree n, a minus 33, 404, 5 th n 2010 th cubed, th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 th 3/4 th degree n th micron th knoweth 1/2 th 3/4 th micron n th 3/4 th plus or minus n euro th degree th 1/2 th micron th n euro th degree n th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro n th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree n th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 aa minus 10-4763 a th 3/4 and 10 th n th 1/2 n 2010 th cubed. A th plus or minus th degree th 1/4 th 1/2 th n on euro th degree n th squared th 1/2 th 3/4 n th micron n euro th n th 3/4 n euro th degree th knoweth 1/2 th 3/4 th 1/4 n florin n on euro th 3/4 th to the first n th squared th micron th n euro th degree n th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro n th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree n a th squared n euro th micron th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 th degree a minus 2-424 th 3/4 and 20 th n th 1/2 n 2012 th cubed aa th squared th 1/2 th micron n th micron th 1/2 th 1/4 th micron th 1/2 th micron th 1/2 th n th squared n th degree n o n a 14 th degree th 3/4 th 1/2 th degree th n euro th degree n th plus or minus th degree th 1/4 th 1/2 th n on euro th degree n th squared th 1/2 th 3/4 n th micron n euro th n th 3/4 n euro th degree th knoweth 1/2 th 3/4 th 1/4 n florin n on euro th 3/4 th to the first n th squared th micron th sh n euro th degree n th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro n th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree n a th n on florin th squared n th n florin a th 1/2 th degree n th micron th n florin n per mil th to the first th micron th 1/2 no th 3/4 n th micron th 3/4 n th degree th knoweth 1/2 th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th 3/4 th n florin th plus or minus th 3/4 th squared th degree th 1/2 th n florin th plus or minus th 3/4 th squared th degree th 1/2 th micron th 3/4 th 1/4 th 3/4 n th squared n on n th 3/4 n euro th cubed th degree th 1/2 th 3/4 th squared th cubed th 3/4 n florin th degree n euro n th squared th micron th 1/2 th 1/2 th 3/4 th to the first th squared th degree n th sh n euro th degree n th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro n th 3/4 th cubed th 3/4 th n euro th degree n, a minus 31, 402, 28 th n th 1/2 n 2010 th cubed, th th degree th 3 quarters th 1 half th 3 quarters th degree nth micron th noeth 1 half th 3 quarters th micron nth 3 quarters th plus or minus n euro th degree th 1 half th micron th sh n euro th degree nth 1 half th 3 quarters nn euro nth 3 quarters th cubed th 3 quarters th n euro th degree nath th degree th 3 quarters th 1 half aa minus 13-3148 th 3 quarters and 25 nth micron th squared n euro th degree th n 2005 th cubed. A th 1 half th degree th micron th micron th 1 half th 1 quarter n florin th 1 half th n th degree th noeth 1 half th 3 quarters th cubed th 3 quarters th 3 quarters th plus or minus n euro th degree th 3 quarters th squared th degree th 1 half th n cubed th 3 quarters n euro th 3 quarters sh n euro th degree nth 1 half th 3 quarters nn euro nth nth degree n on florin n th 3 quarters th 1 quarter th cubed th 3 quarters n euro th 3 quarters th nth 3 quarters th cubed th 3 quarters th 3 quarters th n euro n florin th cubed th degree th n on florin th squared nth n florin a nth micron n euro th micron th micron nn and no th 1 half th micron th to the first th 3 quarters nth micron th 3 quarters nth degree th noeth 1 half th 3 quarters th cubed th 3 quarters th 3 quarters th n florin th plus or minus th 3 quarters th squared th degree th 1 half th nth n florin th plus or minus th 3 quarters th squared th degree th 1 half th micron th 3 quarters th 1 quarter th 3 quarters nth squared n on nth 3 quarters n euro th cubed th degree th 1 half th 3 quarters th squared th cubed th 3 quarters nn florin th degree n euro nth squared th micron th 1 half th 1 half th 3 quarters th to the first th squared th degree nth sh n euro th degree nth 1 half th 3 quarters nn euro nth 3 quarters th cubed th 3 quarters th n euro th degree n a minus 13. 4 th degree th n euro th micron th n 2005 th cubed, th n euro th degree nth 1 half th 3 quarters nn euro nth to the first th cubed th 3 quarters n euro th 3 quarters th nth 3 quarters th to the first th 3 quarters th squared th micron nath micron nth micron th 1 half th micro aath minus 62 th 3 quarters and 24 th micron th degree th plus or minus n euro n 1997 th cubed. A qnth degree th squared th cubed th 3 quarters n euro th 3 quarters th degree th sh n euro th degree nth 1 half th 3 quarters nn euro nth degree th squared n euro th micron th micron nth micron th 1 half th na minus 3-47 th 3 quarters and 10 th nth 1 half n 2014 th cubed aath squared th 1 half th micron nth micron th 1 half th 1 quarter th micron th 1/2 th micron th 1/2 th to the first th squared th qn th degree th squared th cubed th 3/4 n euro th 3/4 th degree th sh n euro th degree n th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro n th degree th n florin th squared n th n florin th squared n th 3/4 th 3/4 n th squared th micron n th squared th n th 3/4 n th degree n nth to the first a 86 th n florin th plus or minus th 3/4 th squared th degree th 1/2 th 3/4 n euro th 3/4 th n th micron th 1/2 th 3/4 th squared th 3/4 n th a minus 4 16 n th 1/2 th squared th degree n euro n 2008 th cubed. External links. Official website of Krasnoyarsk. Official website of Krasnoyarsk, the Siberian Federal University homepage, interactive online map of Krasnoyarsk street photos.